Yeah, but
So it's just funny because yesterday, I was talking to Jan, my wife, your mother, and I was saying, typically I always thought of like spring is always on the 21st, but for some reason I guess spring always comes on the 20th. I'm not sure how that works
May.
because yesterday was the first day of spring, right? But it kind of creeps up on you, right? Because it's like spring already, and but it just feels so good. I mean, granted, you go outside and there are so many trees that have already bloomed.
Oh yes.
That you feel it, but it just feels great. I love the warm weather. I love the extra day of extra hours of sun. It just gives you energy. I love this.
Well, it's a trade. I wish we got the extra hours of sun without them having to do the finagling of the.
Yeah, I mean, it's not gonna.
Why does I gain my hour of sun in the evening?
I know,
I miss
but
it
in the morning, yeah.
Oh boy, I miss it in the morning. I get up and it's dark. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Today y Mañana. I'm Alex. This is Xavier. We're very excited to have you joining us on a beautiful looking morning here in Charlottesville, Virginia. It's a little chilly, but it's beautiful.
It warms up. It warms up, though.
Yeah, absolutely. But chilly is good because it's an excuse.
Oh, yeah.
To grab your café con leche, get into your cozy place, and watch some Today y Mañana. So there's always a good reason to watch.
Well, yeah. Listen, I mean, in the morning, no matter what time of what time of year it is, un café con leche comes in really handy. Right?
Exactly.
So it's just a question of how hot do you really want it?
I mean, if you want your iced café con leche,
yeah, you can do that. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that, but you can certainly do it. It kind of waters down the milk and the coffee.
It does. I don't do it, but I like to give people the option.
I see you're giving people the option to do that. Okay,
yeah, I try
you're so
to be
generous.
Open-minded, so that if people want to watch Today y Mañana with an iced café con leche, I'm not judging them. Harshly, at least not too harshly.
All those cameras we have all over the place, we're going to catch you, though. And Alex is going to say, really?
Exactly. So as you can see, I'm here with Xavier. We're just to be back on with you. I know it's been a few
weeks, yes, I think so, yeah.
I was with combination of
one week I had laryngitis, and the other one I think I just played hooky, I think.
Yeah, something like that. It happens every once in a while. So we have a great show lined up for everyone. We're going to be joined shortly in the show by Stephanie Leach. She's the program manager at Charlottesville Scholarship Program. And then later on by Dr. Garrett Wood from Old Dominion Animal Hospital is going to be joining us. Of course, love being here on the I Love CVille Network set.
That's right. And don't forget to subscribe.
You did it out of order.
I did it out of order, yeah. Share, like, and subscribe. Was it like, share, and subscribe?
Yeah, exactly. That's your usual.
But that doesn't mean you can't subscribe first and then like and share,
is
it?
You okay, could subscribe first.
It's not like.
Heck, you could subscribe and then never
like it?
Like or share. I just would never know that you watched the show. So if you want to shout out.
Like is more important. Like and share is more important.
Because then I get to give you a shout out.
Okay.
Which is exactly what I can do now. I can give a shout out, for instance, to Sophie B. Vallely for liking today's show. I can give a shout out to Dr. Elizabeth Irby for liking the show this morning.
There you are.
So, see if you like the show. I'm
surprised she likes the show, really.
Oh, she likes one of the two co-hosts, so she's kind of partial to one out of the two, at least. Of course, a couple other thank yous to Emergent Financial Services for being our presenter, and to our great partners at Craddock Sirius Insurance, Matias Yon Realty, and Forward Adelante. Thank you all for partnering with us, and thank you all for tuning in this morning. Yeah. So I don't know about you, but I'm excited to.
No, absolutely, yeah.
To jump in.
There's just, like I said, it's going to be a good show, and there's going to be good information coming here today. So I'm excited.
Absolutely. So without further ado, we're excited to welcome to the show this morning Stephanie Leach. She is the program manager at Charlottesville Scholarship Program. Stephanie, thanks so much for coming on this morning.
Thank you for having me. I'm so glad to be here.
We're glad to have you. So
you say that now. You wait.
Yeah, once Xavier starts asking questions, then it goes downhill from there.
I'm ready.
So for those who, because I know it's been, last year we had on Charlie from the Scholarship Program, so it might have been a little, so maybe start by telling the audience who may not know about it, what is Charlottesville Scholarship Program and how did you actually first get involved?
The Charlottesville Scholarship Program was actually started with an initial $250,000 gift from the City Council,
Okay.
with the goal of providing low and middle income residents of the city an opportunity to attend post high school or post-secondary, let's go with that, post-secondary educational programs. And that could look like 4-year degrees or 2-year degrees or vocational training or professional certification programs. So that was the original goal. And since 2001, we've managed to send 188 students
Wow, very
through
nice. Yeah.
post-secondary educational programs, which is amazing. And over that time, we've grown our endowment to well over $1 million. And at the same time, we've given away over $960,000 to those 188 students.
That's terrific.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's a huge gift to our community, to our families, to our students, and I became involved because I grew up in the city of Charlottesville. I attended Charlottesville High School and went to college and graduate school here, and I've seen my whole life the difference that post-secondary education can make in someone's life, in their siblings' lives, in their parents' lives. It's just life-changing, and I'm so happy to be involved with it and to share the good news about it.
And sometimes that's what you need. Sometimes you're this far away from, going to college.
Yes.
And that gift says, thank you. I mean, I can now, afford to be able to go to the college of my dreams or desire and make myself what I want to be. Yeah.
Yeah, so a lot of times we are that kind of last difference between, okay, I'm going to have to take out a student loan
Right.
versus having it completely paid for. Because
Absolutely.
students are savvy, they know how to cobble together several scholarships if you can't get the one that pay the full ride.
Right.
And a lot of times because of how we operate, we are that kind of that
Yes.
that last piece. I say we in the sense as I also volunteer on
Right.
I'm privileged to volunteer on the board for the Charlottesville Scholarship Program. We are that kind of last piece that says, okay, this is what you need to push you into a place where you don't have to take out as much student loans. You might not have to do as much of that work study as you thought you had to.
That's right. And for many of our students, not only do we make the difference between, we kind of cover that gap that they need financially, but we might make the difference in them being able to choose one school over another that they really prefer
Right.
for the studies that they plan to do.
Absolutely.
You know what's good about this, though? Because one thing I always say is sometimes the problem is that we don't know what's out there, right? So it's great that you're on here because I hope that by you being out here, there are people out there that can listen and say, hey, there's still an opportunity for me to apply for this particular, scholarship. So maybe you can tell us a little bit about, how that works and if there's a deadline. When is the deadline?
Absolutely, I can. And I'll preface all of this by saying that applicants have a much better chance of getting an award from the Charlottesville Scholarship Program than they do if they're competing against students for a national scholarship.
Yeah.
So I encourage
Good
them
point.
to do that, to
Yeah.
apply for local awards. And the beauty of these awards is that mostly these are local donors giving to this program. So the community really is making an investment in our winners.
That's great.
So when's the deadline? The deadline to apply this year, it normally would be March 1st, but we've pushed it back this year
Okay.
to April 1st to allow applicants time to get their submission summaries back from FAFSA, which is a free federal form
Okay.
that anyone who's planning on going to college, whether it be 2-year college, 4-year college, can apply to, fill out, and they will be able to find out through that form what sort of assistance they might be eligible for, whether it be loans or grants.
Right.
And colleges use the information from that form to decide what additional institutional aid they might be able to offer
Okay.
a student. So that information is really important to students and families as they make decisions about where a student will go to college. And it's also very important to us because we do only provide these scholarships to low and middle income
Okay.
applicants. So we need to have that information to verify a family's income. And then the rest of the application process is really quite easy.
Ours is an easy one. I mean, if I'm correct, the whole thing, can it be done online?
Absolutely. The entire thing can be done online. And anyone can find out eligibility information and how to apply information by simply going to our website, which is cvillescholarship.com. Everything that you need is there. And there's a very simple link which will take a potential applicant to an online scholarship portal, which is run by the Charlottesville Area Community Foundation, which houses our funds for us.
Okay.
They can very simply establish a username and a password, just like you do for everything else. And once you do that, you can work through the steps of the application, which basically is providing us some simple contact information, telling us which of the various types of scholarships that we offer you would like to be considered for. We ask you to write a very brief personal statement so that we can learn about you and why you want to go to college and why this makes sense for you and why you need help. We ask a couple more questions to get at a little bit more of people's personal stories, if there are things they want to share about challenges that they've overcome or why they're pursuing the particular path that they're pursuing. They can tell us that. We ask for a transcript from high school or from college because we do accept adult applicants.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. We ask for a recommendation from a non-family member who knows you well. So it can't be your mom or your dad or your aunt. Usually it's a guidance counselor or a teacher, but it could be somebody that you worked with in a volunteer capacity. That would be absolutely fine. And we do ask for that FAFSA information. It's a submission summary, which is spit out. Once your FAFSA form is processed, you'll automatically have access to that and be able to provide it to us. So it's a very easy process. It doesn't take long. We don't ask applicants to write a tome, but we do want to find out about them.
Yeah. Now, so first they have to fill in the federal application? I mean, so that's important, right? So that has to be done first. Can they just do your application or they have to kind of be in tandem? How does that work?
They do have to be in tandem.
Okay.
We do give applicants the option of providing the most recent federal tax form for
Okay.
whomever it is in their life that claims them as a dependent.
Okay.
And so that is an acceptable
So if for some reason
substitute.
you're behind on the FAFSA,
Yeah.
or you weren't able to get your summary statement, you could provide that instead.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And the state of Virginia provides an alternative to FAFSA because there are some people who, for one reason or another, are not eligible to complete FAFSA. There's a state equivalent, and it works pretty much the same way. And students will know once they start the FAFSA
Okay.
process whether they need to fill that one out instead.
Okay.
So it's really quite simple.
Yes.
And not difficult. And literally, when somebody says go to cvillescholarship.com, you scroll down, giant boxes, apply, accept, renew, depending on where you are.
Oh, so you can renew too. So if you
it is that's an interesting. Let's talk about that a little because it's a very neat the way it works. Is it's a program. It's not just here's your scholarship money. We'll never talk to you again or see you again in a lifetime. It's a way that you can still be connected with the program through each of the 4 years. So maybe we can talk about the renewal, how that kind of works.
Yeah, so the scholarships that the CSB, that's how we refer to it in shorthand, that we offer are renewable, which means that a student can apply, and if they go to a 4-year school, for example, over those 4 years, they could receive up to $13,000 toward the cost of their college education.
Okay.
And those awards typically start with a first-year amount of $2,500.
Okay.
And then students renew every spring. And all that means is that they screenshot their transcript from the school that they're attending. They write me a personal statement to let me know what they've been up to, what have been their challenges, what have been their successes, how they've managed to balance all of the important parts in their life, because we know that college students aren't just college students. They're also sons and daughters and
Yes.
siblings and friends and oftentimes employees. So we know that they have lots of responsibilities, and we want to hear about all of it. And then we ask about your finances. Are you able to cover the costs of attending your school? And we know that those costs just aren't tuition
That's
and
true.
books.
That's true, yeah.
It might be bus fare or gas for your car or insurance for your car or food or lab
Comes in
fees.
handy.
So we ask about that, not because we want to pry in anyone's business,
Yeah.
but because we're trying to keep a handle on how much does it actually cost to go to these various schools, and how much of a difference does a CSP award make to a student's ability to pay those costs.
Yeah, what does information like that kind of helps to gauge, okay, because it's always that balance between helping more students and increasing the size of each scholarship.
Right.
And so in the past recent 4 years, that size has gone up. And it's gone up in part because of the information we get when students renew and say, hey, things are more expensive. We need to increase the size of the scholarship in order to make sure it's still filling that need. And so, yeah, and each time you renew, you get 500 more. So it's 2,500 the first year, 3,000 on your first renewal, 3,500 on your next
Oh,
renewal,
wow.
4,000
That's right.
on your last renewal, as for the 4 years that you're in college. So each year you renew, and it's literally just you send the information, how are things going, and because it's important to know what we don't want, right, is kids saying, oh man, I had a really lousy first semester, I'm not even gonna, I'm gonna just drop all communication and drop out of school. Because maybe if you communicate with us in the renewal between the program and the navigator, which we'll touch on, your mentor, there's ways that maybe we can help them.
Right.
So not just here's your money, if you drop out, too bad, right? It's what can we do to make sure you're still in touch with the program and the program is still in touch with you. So the renewal is kind of an incentive to
Okay.
do that,
I was
because
gonna
it's
say.
not onerous. It's not like you have to
No.
write another essay and prove that you're worthy of continuing to be a scholar. You just have to provide the very basics.
Right.
And the basic GPA
It's
is...
it's a 2.0.
It's 2. So in
Okay.
other words, if you can hit that 2, you will be renewed. It's not
Right.
as though you're being judged all over again
That's
or
right.
compared to anyone else. It's just a way to keep in touch and then say, here's your renewal plus 500 more than you got the first time.
That's right. And that communication piece is so important, because we know for many of our students, this is the first time they've been away from home.
Yeah, yeah.
And many students experience a very rough first semester. We know that.
Yeah.
But we don't want our students to hide from that. We want them to tell us about it, and if we can and we're able, we will work with them to figure it out. And so particularly for many of our first generation college students, that first semester is even harder, is even more challenging.
No one, they know
No,
no one. who's
yeah,
gone to
nobody's been
college
able, yeah,
That's right.
exactly,
No
yeah.
one can tell them, oh, this is what you need to
Right.
do, or if you're having trouble, this is
Right.
what you should do. So
Yeah.
it's just so important.
And it's a big difference going from high school to college, because in high school, I remember, they tell you everything. Don't forget next week you got this coming. Don't forget you got a test coming, and et cetera. And then you go to college, and the first day it's like, I hope you guys read the first chapter because we're ready to go. It's like, which book was I supposed to get? That kind
That's
of stuff.
right.
So for anybody, and like you said, if they haven't had the experience where their parents went or their siblings went, that first time is like, wow. I mean, I'm on my own here. I really have to buckle down, try to figure out how to get through this, and the first semester can be very difficult for
It
that
can.
reason. Yeah.
It can.
Yeah.
And for the vast majority of our students, they do figure it out. We encourage them to take advantage of all the resources that they have at their school and the extra resources that we provide for support, for encouragement, for tutoring, for assistance, for mental health assistance.
Sure.
All of those things are important, and we encourage them to take advantage of all the resources that they have, both at home and at school.
Wow, this is a great program. Unbelievable.
It really is. It really is. Does you mentioned adults? Can you still be an adult and/or going to a non-4-year college and still apply?
Absolutely. So we have several categories of applicants that we accept. The first one is high school seniors that are attending a Charlottesville City public school high school. And that could look different for different students. For the vast majority of our applicants, they attend Charlottesville High School. But we also have applicants who attend an alternative education program, such as Lugo McGinnis or Ivy Creek, or they're in a hospital education program or a homebound education program for one reason or another. As long as those applicants live in the city of Charlottesville and attend any of those Charlottesville City public school environments, they are eligible to apply. But to move to our adults, we accept Charlottesville City public school graduates or GED recipients who still live in the city. If they want to apply for a scholarship, they can. They're eligible.
So you could have graduated some time ago. Maybe you didn't immediately try to go to college,
Right.
but you still graduated from a Charlottesville public school and you still live in the city limits of Charlottesville. You can apply. And it doesn't have to be a 4-year school either.
No, absolutely not. And we do sometimes have current college students who have maintained legal residency at their parents' house in Charlottesville, and they graduated from CHS maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whenever, and they didn't apply for one reason or another. They are eligible to apply, and they do.
Wow.
And then we also accept applications from adults, other adults, who work for the city of Charlottesville or who work in the Charlottesville City public school system, and it doesn't matter where they live. And it doesn't matter where they graduated high school. So if they work for either of those two, either our municipal government in one capacity or another, or our school system, they can apply. And all of these awards are for undergraduate programs. And those programs could look different for different people, and we place no restrictions on that whatsoever. So an applicant might be planning on going to a 4-year institution. Doesn't matter where, whether it's in the city of Charlottesville at UVA or whether it's in California, does not matter.
Okay.
They can attend a 2-year school. Again, it does not matter where that 2-year
PVCC
school is.
for 2
We have
years and we support them if they do a 2-year and then transfer.
Absolutely.
We'll support them through all
Absolutely.
through 4. So it's not as though if you say I'm going to PVCC, I get the scholarship, and after 2 years we're like, sorry, you're done. If you transfer to UVA then and finish your education, you can still renew.
That's right. That money will follow. And we do sometimes have students who attend PVCC, for example, have their tuition covered, but plan on transferring to a 4-year school, a more expensive 4-year school down the line. We will defer their scholarship. We'll hold it for them if they don't need it at PVCC. Wait until they transfer to that 4-year school, and then they can use it all.
Wow.
Yeah, so instead of using $13,000 over the course of 4 years, you can use it just for the 2 years at the other school because your tuition was covered.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
And it could be a vocational school, like you want to be an
Absolutely.
electrician, a plumber, or whatever it may
Absolutely.
be, or
Absolutely, because we know there are so many paths to success
Yes.
in your life, and we want to support them all and not restrict them.
And how do you raise funds for this? I mean, I know you started with $250,000, but I assume that, I know I think you mentioned the endowment is about $1 million at this point, but still you need to raise some funds. How does that work?
We do. So
Everybody's challenge.
that's right. So we're always looking for donations to support these scholarships, and those donations could come from individuals, couples, families, foundations, family funds or donor-advised funds at CACF in town, or they can come from businesses, and all of those are such important sources of support for our students, because this is an expensive enterprise.
Sure,
We want to support as many students as we can, and every spring when we review our new crop of applications, we wish we had more money. We could always give it away.
Of
There
course,
are
yeah.
there are so many worthy applicants with big dreams and solid plans to reach them. And yeah, so if anybody has money and is looking for a place to put it, you can go to.
And it's not, and it's a
Yeah.
charitable contribution, right?
Absolutely.
It is. It's a 501c3
Okay.
charitable contribution.
Absolutely.
And I mean, to be clear, right, the endowment has grown, but the endowment is used. So in other words, the reason we're able to increase the size of the scholarship, we do use some of the money from the endowment. So it's not as though you donate and then the endowment just gets bigger and never gets used.
That's
It
right.
gets used
Of course.
in part each
Yeah.
year. But obviously, what you don't want to do as a
principle.
responsible 501c3 is drain the endowment and then you have nothing left.
Nothing left,
at
yes.
the end. So donations are key, and in particular, there's some new and interesting ways that I think small businesses in particular can get involved, and we've had one this year that has done that.
We have. We're so pleased and excited to be able to award a new scholarship the very first time this spring. It's called the Scarpa Arts and Design Scholarship. And this is sponsored by, funded by wonderful Scarpa. It's a lovely boutique business that is in the North Wing of Barracks Road. They wanted to celebrate a milestone, an anniversary milestone in business by giving back to the community, and they decided to do it by funding up to $13,000 for a student who is pursuing an undergraduate degree and concentrating in one of these areas: fashion, theater, architecture, design, or the arts. And their hope is that they'll be able to sponsor so much more innovation and creativity in our community by supporting students who want to pursue a career in these fields and can see themselves doing it. So often we're not sure whether pursuing a career in one of those fields
Right.
is viable.
Yeah.
Scarpa wants to send the message loud and clear that it is, and their success is proof that it is. And we are just delighted to be able to offer this wonderful scholarship for the first time.
So basically what you're telling me is a small company can decide that they'd like to sponsor, a scholarship, but the scholarship has to be for a person that follows this particular route, right? So let's say it's a finance company saying, we want to sponsor somebody that's looking for a career in, banking, finance, whatever it may be, right? And then that scholarship goes there, or maybe a mechanic says, I just want somebody that becomes an engineer or mechanical engineer, whatever it may be. So you can, as a small company, you just don't, you can actually dictate what those funds should be used for. Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can say, I want to support students doing
Yeah.
a particular thing because, I worry that students, maybe would be discouraged from pursuing the arts if they don't have a scholarship.
Sure, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So you can do that. And the beautiful part is that you can think about it. I mean, so many small businesses, you're always looking for ways to say, okay, can I, put my name on this luncheon, or can I put my name on this event? Well, here's a way you can kind of put your name to something that is giving on a constant basis. Because for 4 years, your name will be out there in this, and you're actually like helping a student go to college
Right.
with so it's not just a one night thing. It's an ongoing, essentially an ongoing donation. And so it's and literally you just reach out to Stephanie or the program to have that conversation.
Yeah, it's a very exciting thing, and what a wonderful way for a local business to celebrate its business, to celebrate our community and the future of its business in our community.
So I'm curious about something also. So what if a small company is very small, right? So they say, well, we can't literally afford $13,000 this year. However, if one person is at $13,000 program, we can afford 2, 3.5, 3.5, 3.5. Where you say, I'm willing to do that. Is that something that you'll take? The company to say, yeah, I can give you 2 this year and 3.5 next year. Is that something they can
Absolutely.
do also? Okay.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Because there are some small companies that maybe is like
the key thing. I think is the commitment.
Commitment, yes.
For at least 2 rounds of it, because you don't want as a scholarship program to say we have this one scholarship and in 4 years it's done forever. So SCARPA has generously committed to several scholars. So with the key things, we do ask future companies to say, yes, you can break it up, but you kind of have to commit to several, 2, 3 scholars to.
Gotcha. Okay.
And that's what SCARPA has done.
Yeah.
And we'll be awarding the SCARPA Arts and Design Scholarship, we'll be awarding that every other year. Because
Okay.
that's a comfortable level and extremely generous level of giving for SCARPA. So absolutely, we are absolutely willing to work with a family, with a business that wants to sponsor a scholarship at whatever level might be comfortable to them.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Shout out here, thank you to James Watson, great member of the community, great member of the community for the
Yes,
program.
yes.
As well, watching the show this morning. Thank you, James. He asks for a good link to do it, and I believe people can to share and donate, and people can donate, I believe, by going to the same CVilleScholarship.com
That's right.
website.
That's right. It's all there. Application information, donation information, navigator information, all of it is right there on our website.
Now, if a business wanted to reach out to you either for that or to say, because for instance, there's a scholars reception that we do when the scholars receive their awards. We host a dinner for them so that they can meet the mentors that will be assigned to them. They can meet some of the other people that are in the community and all the previous scholars, right? So we kind of host that, and businesses can also donate to kind of sponsor that event, help us to put that on. This way we're not using, endowment funds to do that, but we're still able to give these kids a good time and kind of celebrate the fact that they won a scholarship. So if a business wants to either participate in that or talk about a named scholarship, what's the best way for them to reach out?
They can reach out to me through the website. Our email address is right there. There's a phone number that's right there, and I'll be the one who's on the other end of that email or that phone call, and I would love to talk to them about that event that you mentioned that we host each spring to celebrate our newest class of CSP scholars is just wonderful. We have the scholars, we have their families, we have younger siblings who attend, and over the years we've noticed that as those younger siblings grow up, they'll apply.
We've had some success that one after another. It's just like, yep, my sister applied, and now I'm encouraged to apply because she won it.
Oh, fantastic!
It's such a change maker for that family to be able to send one or more of their children on to post-secondary education. It's the best night ever. And we're always looking for sponsors, and we will absolutely recognize that support, so that we're spending our funds on scholarships.
That's terrific. That's
While
terrific.
also making a special night for the
exactly.
students.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Stephanie, this has been, as always, it's always an absolute pleasure to have you on. So just maybe recap quickly for us the deadline and then the where people need to go to reach out and find more information.
Absolutely. So the deadline to apply this year is April 1st. And that means I need your completed application by midnight, at the end of the day on April 1st. And you can find everything you need to apply and the link to our online scholarship portal at CVilleScholarship.com.
And there you go.
Easy.
Very easy.
Yeah.
Very easy. And Stephanie, it's true. If you press that little email button and have questions, or you're not sure if you're eligible, or you want to know how to, Stephanie will answer. Yeah, this is literally
we
the
know
person
who
that
that's
you'll be
right.
talking to. So it's very easy to get in touch and find out more. So I would really encourage everyone to do that and talk to people you know. If you know kids or families, and you're like, what? Maybe they live in the Charlottesville city limit. Talk to them and just let them know.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's lots of opportunities because, like Stephanie said, there's going to be potentially somewhere between 11 and 13 scholarships this year that we will be giving out, because there are some special ones like the STARPA Art and Design Scholarship, and then there's the usual ones we give out every single year. So there's several opportunities out there this year. So I would really encourage everyone to look out and be on the lookout for people you know.
Absolutely, yeah.
Stephanie,
thank you,
so
Stephanie.
much again.
Thank you so much.
Thanks
This
so
has
much
been
for
great.
coming on.
Yeah.
And so we'll go ahead and swap here to our next guest. I will shout out next week we will be joined the chair of the program, Charlie Rogers, also a great small business owner.
That's right.
Here
Exactly.
in
Yeah.
Charlottesville. He's going to be joining us to talk about the navigator portion of the program, because each scholar is paired with a mentor. And he'll come and talk a little bit about how that works as well. So there is support even beyond the funds for the program. So we'll be on the lookout for that.
It's a great
next
program.
week.
Great program.
It is. And so from one great guest near and dear to our heart to another,
Absolutely.
we're excited to welcome to the show this morning Dr. Garrett Wood. He is from Old Dominion Animal Hospital. Garrett, thanks so much for coming on this morning.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having me.
No, it's a pleasure. So I think Xavier's passed the Old Dominion Animal Hospital. I know I have several times.
Many times, yeah.
And I believe it was founded by your father. So maybe tell us a little bit about the origin of it and how you first became interested as well in the veterinary field.
So Old Dominion Animal Hospital got started back in 1982, so we've been around 42 years.
Wow.
We have always been a family and owned and operated business. My dad graduated from University of Georgia in 81, and then came here, practiced 1 year at Georgetown, another local animal hospital, and then decided to open up his own clinic. He started in 82 at McIntyre Plaza, and right where Seaville Coffee is, and then spent about 5 years there growing the business. This second employee was my mom. Then we went from there to 1987. We built the building over on Preston Avenue. It used to be an old tire shop there on the corner, and he took that building down and then built Old Dominion, growing it from there to about a 3-doctor practice. I graduated in 2013 from Virginia Tech Vet School. So when I came on, I was the third vet replacing a vet that had been there about 5 years. And then my dad retired in 2015.
Okay.
That's kind of when I took over the business. And we grew it from there to 6 doctors in 2020. And that's when Dr. Allison Kramer, one of my other business owners, and I decided to buy a second location. So we bought a location out that was previously established as the Crozet Veterinary Care Center out there in Crozet off of 240. And so we bought that building, did some minor renovations, and then opened up a second location out in Crozet. We now have both locations, 8 doctors and about 40 staff.
Wow. Wow.
So we're now one of the largest animal hospitals in the area.
Wow.
That's amazing.
Did you know growing up that you kind of wanted to go into the field that your dad was in, or did you take a circuitous route to it?
I definitely grew up in it. So, I mean, from the time I was like 10 years old, I was, cleaning cages and doing things that probably not really getting paid, but, just being around. A lot of our clients even remember me being 5 years old running around the clinic, which of course I don't remember. So then through, undergrad, I kind of focused on biology and then got really invested in working at my dad's clinic and became I worked my way up from kennel assistant to, a true assistant and helping to, with surgeries and doing blood works and blood draws and things like that. And then after the 4 years at Virginia Tech, I got a bachelor's in biology and science. Went straight from there into the vet school at Virginia Tech. which I loved and kind of grew in that role there.
That's fantastic. That's awesome. So what are some of the things because I know sometimes myself, like you have this vague idea, okay, animal hospital. What are some of the things that like you would typically treat that people would look to Old Dominion for?
So we kind of are broad spectrum. I think, we think about a GP in the human world, but veterinarians can cross everything. So we do anything from dentistry to internal medicine. I have a proficiency in ultrasound, so I do a lot of internal medicine cases. We deal with cancer. I even we provide chemotherapy for pets.
Wow.
A lot of end-of-life care. We also work with a ton of rescues. So about 25% of our business is rescues, and we give about 30% back to all those rescues every year. So they get 30% off of all their fees at the clinic as well. So we really feel it's been an important role of Old Dominion as kind of a center for rescue help in the area as well.
That's wonderful.
So these are people that find, stray, cats, dogs, whatever it may be, and those are what you mean by rescue, or is there a team of people that go around looking for?
So we work with about 20 different rescues in the area. I'll give you one example. HOUSE, which stands for House of Wood and Straw. It's an organization that focuses on low-income individuals that need housing for their pets outside. So they were either chained up outside but had no ability to get out of the cold weather, the rain, the stuff like that.
Okay.
So they'll go in, they'll build fences, they'll build housing structures for those pets as well as vet them. So they'll get them spayed and neutered. And so they can bring them into our clinic and we give them 30% off of all of their goods. So, whether it be vaccines or spays and neuters or, obviously some of them are hospice cases where, it is the best thing, just to help them in any way we can.
Mm-hmm.
No, so I'm curious about something because, here in Virginia, you drive around, you always see cows and you see horses and you think, do you also deal with those type of animals?
So we are truly a small animal practice. However, we do exotics. We have a veterinarian, Dr. Courtney Jagger, who's at our Crozet location, and she will see guinea pigs, hamsters, rabbits, birds, snakes even, as long as they're non-poisonous. So she really does the whole gambit. I concentrate on cats and dogs, and I go to both clinics. So I'm at 2 days a week at the Charlottesville clinic and 2 days at the Crozet location, as well as helping to run them as well.
Where's the fifth day? Where are you the fifth day?
That's when he's running them as well.
Yes.
Thank you, Caitlin Weimer. Thanks for watching the show this morning. Appreciate you tuning in. So I know in pets obviously can vary. So, there's the exotic ones that probably need their own TLC.
I would think so.
But for generally speaking, when people are thinking, cats or dogs, what are things people can do just generally to make sure their pets are healthy, not that they won't need you, but in other words, so that they can give them a good quality of life and keep them on the healthier side? What are things people should have in mind from your perspective?
Yeah, so I think the number one thing is having a yearly exam. By a veterinarian. We have 25 or more practices in this area, so there's lots of opportunity for you to be at all sorts of different practices in the area. But that physical exam is so much more than just looking at them. It's also talking about husbandry, it's talking about what food or what medications they need to be on, and trying to guide you on flea and tick prevention and heartworm prevention. A lot of people don't know, but we're actually a year-round state for both flea and tick prevention. Lyme disease, which is very endemic in our area, affects about between 10 and 15% of dogs in our area.
Wow.
So,
really? Wow.
In their lifespan, about 10 to 15% will get Lyme disease. And it is preventable disease, with a vaccine as well as flea and tick prevention. We're close to 99% ability, have that ability to stop that disease. It's not 100%, but it's real close. Lepto is another common condition in this area that comes from water, ponds, lakes, streams, swimming. Rivanna River, right down there, where all the dogs go to play. It's a pretty high-risk area for lepto. The county over from us, Augusta County, is the 5th highest in the country for leptospirosis.
Wow.
And so it's really important, I think, vaccination. We can do a lot to prevent disease. Obviously, we can treat them once they have it, but it is much better to prevent than to treat.
Have to treat, absolutely.
I'm curious with regard to, because we had a pet who passed away a few years ago, but so for the fleas and the ticks, right? So I know there's medicine that you give them for that, right? So my question has always been, because if the tick still attaches to it, is the medicine such that the tick says, "Oops, I don't like this guy because he's got some kind of medicine," or is it when they bite him, it doesn't do anything?
So what happens with the bite is that they actually take up the product. So, for example, NexGard is an oral product. It goes into the bloodstream, and when that tick goes to take a bite, it actually kills the tick. So it actually will kill. So when it falls off, it will die.
Okay.
Generally, your flea and tick products kill within about 4 hours with ticks, and within matters of minutes with fleas. But they are, with those oral products, they are actually having to ingest the product, so they do have to make that bite and take that blood sample.
Okay.
With your topical products, some of them do repel, but when you look at it statistically, the oral products are actually even better at preventing disease.
Yeah.
Because you're killing.
I always wondered that, because I said, the medicine, how does it work? I mean, I know we gave it to Chester, but it's like, how does it work? Once in a while, we still saw a tick on him. It's like, geez, you got to get this guy out of here.
Well, and when you look at tick diseases, most of them take anywhere from 12 to 72 hours of the tick being attached to the pet to transmit the disease. Okay. And so if you can kill them within 4 hours, you're avoiding. Now, if a dog gets 100 ticks all at one time, yes, there's still a possibility of getting, a disease from that. But most of the time, we can avoid that.
Yeah, because usually, even if you went sniffing somewhere, usually it's one or at most maybe two that might find him.
Yeah.
At a time, you'd have to really get unlucky for him to do that. Should you avoid certain still waterways with your dogs in terms of having them swim in them and so forth?
No, I think it's great that, I'm very much pro let dogs be dogs. If they want to play in the rivers and streams, the lepto vaccine is great. It's at 98, 99% effective. So if you can get that vaccine and protect them, that's the important part.
Sure.
Then feel free, please play. We want them to be active, and definitely it's fun to play with the dogs in the water. Some dogs, get really wet and take hours and hours to dry, so that's fun for the owners. But
so tell me, what is lepto disease? So what does that do?
So leptospirosis is a bacteria. It's called a spirochete. It's a different type of bacteria, but what happens is, especially during pretty much from spring until fall, especially when the water is lower. So when we have lots of rain, it actually moves lepto kind of out.
Okay.
But it comes from a lot of our livestock population. So when you look at the Rivanna River, there's a lot of cattle that actually, as you go upstream, do pee or drink out of around that water. So what happens is lepto then gets in the water population, and then especially as it gets hotter, lepto kind of gets the worst during the middle of the summer when we haven't had any rain and it's nice and dry, and the creek is only a few inches tall. That water sits, and then what it does is reproduces in that water. The pets go down to either swim or drink out of that water, and that's how they first get the illness.
Do you have to ingest it, or does it go through their skin?
It does have to be ingested. So they do have to lick it, drink the water, or playing in the water would be enough, because obviously it's getting on their membranes. But the issue with leptospirosis is the initial signs are actually just GI signs, so vomiting and diarrhea, which you can imagine the list of possible causes of vomiting and diarrhea in pets, from eating things to obviously other organisms and food allergies and all sorts of things. And so the early signs are kind of inconspicuous, which makes it difficult to find in the early stage. By day 7 of that illness, it actually goes after the kidneys and liver and can go to shut them down. And by that point, then they're very sick, generally coming in, very lethargic, not eating. And the challenge is just treating them at that point can be very difficult and costly also to the owner.
Is it mostly antibiotics at that point, or are there
Yeah.
other? Okay.
So generally they're on a couple different antibiotics, as well as going on IV fluids. A lot of those patients need to be hospitalized for multiple days with lepto. Lepto is about 50% fatal once, especially if you cannot catch it early.
Okay.
And so it is very treatable. I had a dog earlier this year that died of lepto that got the exposure actually last fall. And then ended up probably getting Lyme on top of that. And it was only a 5-year-old dog, and unfortunately did succumb to kidney failure from it. And it was an otherwise healthy dog, 5 years old.
Yeah.
So it is a disease that doesn't care how healthy you are.
Yes, you really want to be
so it's just an
proactive.
important to get the vaccine, especially if you're going to have that exposure to water. Now, if you live in downtown Charlottesville and all you do is walk on the downtown mall, lepto's probably not a problem. Maybe even Lyme isn't a problem. So,
Absolutely. What on that vein, what are, because I haven't been a previous pet owner, what are kind of the signs or things where you should say, all right, this is not my dog eating a piece of grass and he needs to get it out of his system. I need to go see a vet. What are typical, it is for dogs and cats, what are the kind of symptoms that you should immediately say, okay, I think he needs to see a vet?
Yeah, well, I always tell owners, you're your best dog and cat's, ambassador, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, your pet, and so some of the behaviors like, hiding and cowering under, sofas, or hiding and not wanting to be out and not playing ball. Like for a dog that loves to play ball every single day, if they're like, nah, I don't want to today. Okay, why? And is there not eating on top of that, or GI signs on top of that? We do have, there are so many veterinary clinics in the area, but we also have emergency clinics in the area. If it's a weekend and there's not that many places open, there definitely are emergency clinics that will see you. So try not to wait until Monday, because, if it's treatable, then, 2 more days may mean a life-threatening change to your pet. So, try to get seen over the weekend, and we do have some, capabilities of that with our local vets.
Absolutely.
Important, yeah.
Emily Hollenbeck watching the show says, "Yay, Dr. G." So you got some fans, got some fans tuning in there. Can I ask, what's it been like because our audience always loves the kind of the entrepreneur angle. What's it been like as an entrepreneur, running a family business in addition to what you obviously what you do on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, so the entrepreneur side is a lot of fun for me. I really love the business side of veterinary medicine. I started, like I said, in 2015, kind of starting to run the business, and learned a lot from my dad through the years. So he helped to foster an environment where he would start to show me the books and let me see how things were running, on a financial side.
Right.
My sister, who is one of the owners as well, is the manager of the 2 clinics. So we've worked, hand in hand over. She's been there about 14 years, as well as Dr. Kramer. So we kind of, all 3 of us as the big owners, kind of work together as a team. I tend to run more of the financial side. I work with our accountant as well, but really love seeing how things kind of all are put together. I also am part of the Jefferson Area Veterinary Medical Association. I'm the president, which is our local veterinary medical association. So I love getting involved on a both local, but also I'm on the board of the Virginia Veterinary Medical Association, which is our statewide organization. So I also love to get involved from that side. The other part I really love is mentorship. I have housed about 5 different veterinarians that are in school that are trying to get done with their program. They have to do externships during their 4th year or 3rd year. 2 of which joined us for externships about a year and a half ago, and both of them are now working at our clinic.
That's awesome.
Fantastic.
Dr. Adam Sirk and Dr. Sophie Vallely that you had earlier mentioned, they're wonderful and just joined our team.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's always great to see kind of the family business, but then it's community business,
exactly.
Giving opportunities to people, and then the joy of seeing them stay on and become part of the community is a really amazing thing.
Yeah.
We love it ourselves in this area. So, Dr. Derritt, what if people want to learn more and find out about you, where's the best way to sign up, get in touch, learn more, find out?
Yeah. We have a website, so OldDominionAnimalHospital.com. My wife is kind of does our lead of marketing and is our executive director, so she does a lot of the Facebooks and Instagrams. So that's not my gig, but she loves it and is very involved in that. So you can reach us there. Definitely, I want to say, any rescue organizations in this area, please feel free to reach out to myself, so Dr. Garrett Wood, or my sister Meredith. Meredith West, who we really want to help you in this community. So, if you have interest in wanting services at that discounted rate, we really want to be there for you. The other thing I wanted to mention is, not forgetting that, one of the biggest avenues of a lot of our staff are, assistants and technicians. There's a Blue Ridge Tech program over Blue Ridge Community College, ran by Dr. Van Leer. And we have right now 3 assistants that are in the tech program. And so just looking at that as an avenue of growth for, if you don't want to, mentioning the scholarships from earlier,
yes.
That's a program that I bet you you could apply for, and they would help, get
Wow,
you that, finishing that degree.
Interesting.
So we love to support also the assistants and techs in their growth.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
really
no,
is.
I didn't.
I had no
realize
idea.
It's true. I mean, I guess with 8 doctors, but if you said 40 total staff, a
Yeah.
lot of them are assistants, technicians,
Receptionists,
Reception.
Yep. So almost everyone, pretty much everyone we employ is locally from this area. I mean, there's very few that are outside of this area. A lot have graduated, so we have 7 licensed techs between the 2 practices, 3 that are in the program, all of which graduated from the Blue Ridge Tech program, I think minus 1 maybe. And so, we're really trying to both take and employ the people of this area. And really coming back to that family-owned business, we just love, being able to be here for the community.
That's fantastic. I
That
really
really is.
appreciate the work you guys do with the rescues.
Yeah, that's
It's
fantastic.
I mean,
yeah.
it's
That's
just
needed,
so
yeah.
important, but especially just also many times. I mean, they're not. My wife's cat back in Montana, he was trying to rescue, and they don't always come in the best of health. So it's nice to be able to kind of help them as much as possible, right? Get back to health, so that then they can have a good and healthy life when they finally, if they're able to find a family and be not that
Yeah, they
find a
become
family, but they're-
part of the family. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the thing about
They
pets.
really
I mean, they're
do.
truly part of the family.
And then it can make all the difference. I mean, my wife's, when she found her, when, they rescued him, I mean, he was in really bad shape. But just being in a good place, getting the care he needed, he's now 19 years old.
Wow, that's impressive.
And then he had been mangy and not in good health, wouldn't eat much. And now he's 19 and still going strong because he got care immediately and he got a good family. So it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, we love helping rescues. I mean, that's, by far one of the best things about my everyday. So just being able to see dogs in our community, cats in our community, and, there's so many good rescues in this area. If you're looking to get involved in rescue work, I mean, there's so many options. Hal's Project, like I mentioned earlier, Cat Action Team, which is a cat-focused group.
Okay.
Dog Deserve Better, Green Dogs Unleashed. And then if you have a specific love, we have Sheltie Rescue, Beagle Rescue, German Shepherd Rescue, Greyhound Rescue. So if you have a specific breed you even love, there may be at rescue. You could literally just work with German Shepherds every day for the rest of your life. So, I do really ask the community just to kind of get out. If you have interest in getting involved, reach out to us. We can definitely put you in touch with, those different rescues and join part of their team, helping them out. There definitely is a high need in our area for that.
That's fantastic.
That's great. That is great, yeah.
Appreciate what you do. And again, it was OldDominionAnimalHospital.com. So literally the name of the business.com, very easy to get in touch with. And is that also the place to go if people have an animal that they think needs to see you to go to the website and find the contact information there?
Yeah, so we have email and our phone number on there,
Okay.
and with the 2 practices, we have obviously separate phone numbers for each, but we do have a phone number that runs both. So if you call the 1-888 number, it will actually send you and then give you a prompt to go to each practice.
Okay.
So you can
Perfect.
pick from there.
Pick which one.
So we do have lots of options.
Awesome.
And it's neat. I mean, one's in Crozet and one's here, and
Yeah,
that
so
covers
you
a big space. Yeah,
That's wonderful.
that's fantastic.
Well, Jared, thank you so much
Thank you.
for
Yes,
joining us
this has
this
been
morning.
great.
I've learned a lot, and it's
Yeah.
just, I'm so glad you're in the community doing what you're doing, because it's important work.
Yeah, thank
it
you,
really
Alex.
is. Yeah,
Xavier.
thank you.
Appreciate
Yeah.
it. All right.
Another family-owned business. I
Another
love that,
family-owned
yeah.
business. So
It's beautiful. It's beautiful to see that, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. So it was a great show today. I just want to thank Kevin Higgins. He gave us an idea that I will pass on to the scholarship program. Always a wealth of great ideas and comments watching the show, so I appreciate that. Next week, we'll have on Charlie Rogers,
That's
another
correct.
local family business.
That's right, yes.
He's the CEO of ISS, Innovative Software Solutions, and he's also the chair of the Charlottesville Scholarship Program. So he'll come on, talk a little about it. He's got a great story. We'll talk a little bit with him, talk some navigators and mentors for the program. So looking forward to that. Always appreciate being on with you.
Same here.
Here on the
Love
show.
coming on the show, as you know.
Thanks to everyone who tuned in this morning and gave us your questions, comments, likes, and shares. Always appreciate that. Of course, thank you to Emergent Financial Services for being our presenter. Thank you to Ms. Tia Sion Realty, Credit, Sirius Insurance for our amazing partners. Thanks to Judah behind the camera, making it all flow. Thanks to I Love Seville Network. We love being here on the set. Thanks to Xavier.
Thank
forward
you,
to,
Alex,
I don't know
for-
if it's you and me again next week or not, but we'll
I think right now, I mean, I don't think there's anything
find
stopping
out.
me from coming here.
find out unless you play hooky again. We will absolutely be seeing all of you next week. We look forward to seeing you then. Be sure to send us any other, great family businesses or nonprofits that you think would love to be featured on the show. Like we say, we do not charge people to have them featured on the show. It's free to come on. So we appreciate just anyone you want to share with us. Then we can feature them on Today Mañana. We look forward to seeing you all next week. But until that time, as we like to close it out, hasta mañana.